Hello everyone, we're going to go over the examples for section 8.7, and this is based on the online homework for this section. I'll read the statements, the question, and I will highlight as I usually do in the classroom. This is a payment formula that we're going to be using, and this is to determine the regular payment amount rounded to the nearest dollar. So when you say rounded to the nearest dollar, what that means is at the end, the final answer will not contain any decimals. No decimals. The price of the home is $172,000. The bank requires a 20% down payment. As soon as you see a percent, I recommend that you turn that into a decimal. So 20% will be 0.20 or 20 hundredths. And 3 points at the time of closing. So 3 points translates to 3%. And since it turns into a percent, we're going to turn that into a decimal. The cost of the home is financed with a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So what that means is that the time that we're going to use is going to be 30, and it's always in years. And the fixed rate is R, and that is 8.5% that we turn into a decimal by moving the decimal point to 2 units left. So the movement will be 2 units left, 0.085. So it has 2 parts. It has 5 parts from parts A through E. The first part, find the required down payment. So to find the required down payment, that is going to be the price of the home. In this case, is $172,000, and the required down payment is 20%. So you multiply that by 0.20. And that will be equal to the amount of the down payment of $34,400. If you notice in the question here, the dollar sign is already there. All you have to write down is the amount. And that's it for part A. Now let's move on to part B. Find the amount of the mortgage. So the amount of the mortgage is the price of $172,000 minus the down payment of $34,400, and that will amount to $137,600. Again, if we were writing it on paper, we will have to include the dollar sign. But for the homework, the dollar sign is already included in the outside of the box, the input box. Part C. How much must be paid for the 3 points at closing? So the 3 points at closing is 3%, and you turn that into a decimal. So that is going to be 3% or 0.03 of the amount of the mortgage. In part B, we calculated the amount of the mortgage. So all we have to do is multiply the amount of the mortgage by the 3% as a decimal, and that will give you $4,128. That is the amount that you are going to pay for the 3 points. $4,128. And again on paper without with the dollar sign, input box without it. Find the monthly payment excluding escrow taxes and insurance. Escrow taxes is what they set aside in order to pay your taxes, and the insurance for the house in general. So the monthly payment is given by that big formula. So the payment formula equals, we're going to replace the variables. P is the loan amount, so that is the $137,600. Let me erase that. That's why it's very good to use pencil. Remember, I emphasize that in class. $137,600. Then the rate is 8.5%. Now we're going to turn it into a decimal, and is divided by 12 because it's monthly payments. Then it has a bracket of 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus your rate divided by the n raised to, again I emphasize, enclose the exponent in parentheses, n times t, and the time is in 30 years. Close the exponent with the parentheses and close the bracket. So I'm going to bring the graphing calculator, and remember that her name is Dora de Calculadora. So Dora is going to assist us with this calculation. So clear the screen. We're going to enter $137,600, open parentheses, 0.085 divided by 12, close the parentheses, divided by, again, instead of using a bracket, just use a parentheses, open parentheses, 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus 0.085 divided by 12, close the parentheses. Then you are raising this, raised to open parentheses. You're going to use the negative sign that you are going to be using. Remember that is the one in parentheses. This is the subtraction sign as an operation. You have to use the negative is the one enclosed in parentheses. So open parentheses, negative sign, 12 times 30. We're closing the parentheses for the exponent. Now we have to close the parentheses for the entire denominator. It's important to close twice. Then you press the equal sign. And that is equal to 1,058. 1,058. It is really 1,058 with 2 cents. But remember, or 3 cents, or 2 cents, I'm sorry. But remember that they want you to answer to the nearest dollar. So answer to the nearest dollar, that means that we don't have any parentheses, any decimals. So that means no decimals. And the final cost of interest over 30 years. So the amount of interest that you're going to pay in 30 years, first we have to calculate how many payments we're making. So the amount of payments that we are making, we're paying 1,058 every year for 12 months, and every year is for 30 years. Then you're going to subtract the amount of the mortgage, and the amount of the mortgage is what we calculated in part B, is $137,600. So the payments that you made were $380,880 minus the mortgage amount, $137,600. That will tell you how much is it costing you to finance this house, and it is $243,280. That's how much it will cost you over 30 years. $243,280. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you.